Welcome back to this tutorial. In this video, we will talk about the specialized input settings. So let's start with the article. So if you want to output an article inside your website, you can use the article input settings. So how does it work? It's very simple. You must specify the type, the ID, and the label. And the type must be article. Okay, so when accessing the article, the data is returned as article object or as blank. If it is blank, it just means that you did not select the article type or the selection is no longer exist. Okay, and you must know that the article does not support the default attribute. So let's see how does it work. Let's go back to our VS Code. Let's remove all this if statement we wrote back here. Let's remove the object inside the settings here. Let's delete these blocks. Let's remove the IDs inside the preset settings, and let's remove the blocks also like this. Now we are good to go. So let's now create the article input settings, and I'm gonna come inside the settings. I'm gonna create an object. So the type must be article. You can give it any name for the ID. I will call this one article, and you must have a label, and the label, let's add a comma here. Let's add a double quote here. And the label, we can also say select the article. So if you save it, let's go see our customize, and on the input here, so we have the select the article. So if I click on it, as I have two articles already created, so I can choose one of them. Let's choose this introduce something. If I save it, we're going to see nothing, obviously. So we have to go to access it. So let me go back inside my divs here. I'm going to open it, and I will try to access it directly. So let's try section.settings.article, and if I save it, I'm going to see the handle. Okay, it's showing me that we are inside the news blocks is what we have created, and this is the title of our article. And inside here, if I add a dot, I'm gonna have access to a bunch of objects here. So I can display, for example, the author. If I save it, I'm going to have the name of the author. And if I come again here and I do, let's say I want to showcase the image. So if I do that image like this, if I save it, it's going to show me the URL of the path of the image. Because it is an image, we need to add a filter. Let me add some BR tag here so that we see what we're doing. So let me add a filter, a pipe. So we're gonna use image URL. Let's give it a width of 500 and the height also of 500. Let me add again a filter and add an image tag. If I save it and I come, we're gonna have an image displayed here. I can also show some other stuff. For example, let me copy this one. I can display also the date, for example. So we can say that I think it's published at. If I save it, we're going to have the date display like this. So we have the date, and we have also like the time and also like this thing. So we can format this date by adding the date filter like this. If I save it, now we're going to have a different format. So we have now Wednesday, September 17, 2025, and this is the time, the actual time. Okay, so we can again come here, add more formatting. So if you add a colon, you add to quote here, and if you have you're going to have some documentation here. You can use either Ruby documentation to find the date filter, or you can use this one. So I'm gonna use this this one here. I'm gonna open it, and let's say I want to display the year, the month, then the day. So I'm going to look for the year. So I'm gonna grab this one, copy that, come back here, and inside the quotes, okay, I will save it. Let's see how does it looking. So now we have the year. So let's find the month. So you can display the month as a number if you want to, okay, or you can display it as a full name. Let's try both so that you see how does it works. So I can come here, I can add some hyphen and add a month like this, and add another hyphen to go grab the full name of the month, which is here. So let me grab this one, I come back here and I add it, and if I save and we go check, now we're gonna have the month as a number, also as a full name. Okay, and lastly, let's add the day. So the day could be We can use this one, I believe, or we can use the day of the month. We can use this one. So let me grab that one and let's go check. Add the hyphen again and save it. Let's remove all the space. Don't forget to close the quote there. And if I come, now we're gonna have the correct formatting here. You can remove one of the month. It was just to showing you how to do that. And if I save, we're going to have the correct formatting. All right, so this is how you work with the article input settings. So now let's talk about the blog input setting. I think we already talked about this one when we did the blocks here, but let's again repeat it for just practicing. The blocks input settings helping you to select the blocks. So let's say if you go back to your Shopify admin and here you look for content and you go for blog posts, and here we have the article we already created in our previous video. And when you click on manage blocks, you are able to add a different type of blocks here. So we had by default the news, so we can come click on add blog and we can create, let's say, a blog called, let's say, shoes. And if I save it, and if you come back to blog post here, when you click and you go to, so if I click here and if I come, you write your title, you write your description. And if you come here on blogs, if you click here, you're going to have now access to the news and the shoes type of blog that you selected. So let's try to make this article here. So we're gonna say this shoes article, and we can use ChatGPT here to write something. So we can say something like this. We can have this one as our excerpt if you want to, and then just make sure that the visibility is set to visible, and we can save it. If I come back to our VS Code and I'll create again an input of blog like we did earlier, you need to give it the type of blog like this, and then you can specify the ID as you wish. So let's give it ID of blog, then the label of blog. Yeah, so if I save it, let's go read the documentation quickly. It says that when accessing the blogs, the data is returned as the blog object or either as a blank if there is no selection or the selection made no longer exists. And it says here the blog does not support the default attribute. So just be aware of that. And it's going to be the same like the article to access it. So if I come here, just make sure you copy the ID. Let me delete what we did earlier. So if I do double quotes like this and I go section.settings to access the blog. So if I save it and I come back to our code here, if I refresh, and I think we're going to have nothing because there is no selection made yet. So now we have blog. So if I click now, so it's going to ask us which category you want to display, the news category or the shoes category. Let's go with the shoes category, for example, and then we're going to have the shoes. So these shoes, that is just the handle of the shoes category we just created. So now to access the article inside this category shoes, we need now to come and here add a dot and to have access to all of this object here. And we can use, let's say if I go with the title, for example, and I save it, we're gonna get still shoes, which I believe is not correct because let's try to bring the URL. If I save it, okay, so we're getting the URL, that's great. Okay, so it goes to blog/shoes. Yeah, so we're getting the data. So let's try to see what else we can access. So yeah, so if now I want to access, for example, the article inside this blog, I need to go .article. And if I save it, it's going to give me article drop. And we're going to do like we did earlier. We're going to loop. So we're going to add a for loop here. We're going to loop against this section settings blog.article. And we can give this one the article name again. And now we can access everything from the article dot. We can have the author like we did earlier. And I'm going to have the author right here. We can delete this one for now. We can access, for example, the title, and yes, so and so on. All right, so this is how you're going to use the blog setting inputs. Thank you for watching, and let's continue with the next one. So next, let's talk about the collection input settings. So the collection input settings helping you to output a collection picker field that's automatically populated with the available collection of the store. So you can use these settings type to capture a collection selection, such as collection for featuring products on the home page. Okay, so we can try to access it, and when accessing that, data is returned as collection object. You can click here to go see what is inside. So we're gonna have access to all of this data here. And if there is no selection yet, or the selection is not anymore visible or no longer exists, we're gonna get blank. And the collection does not accept default as the attribute. So let's try it. If I come back here to our VS Code, let's delete this for loop, and let's clean up these two settings here. So for now, let's create an object for the collection. So type is going to be collection, and the ID, let's call it also collection. Let's give it some label. It's going to be name also collection. So if I save it and I go back to my customizer, we're going to have collection here. So here I can click and I can select only one collection, I believe. So now let's see how we can access this collection. So let's go back to VS Code. Let's grab the ID and let's go inside our div and double curly. So we're gonna say section.settings.collection. And if I save it, let's see what we're going to have. So we have the boot. So this is the name of our collection. And let's say I want to access now more information. If you add the dot, so we're going to have access to all of these objects here. So let's say we are looking for something simple. Let's say I want to see the title of the collection, which I think we already saw is going to be again boot. Let's say I want to see the URL, for example, of this collection, and it's going to output the URL of our collection. And if you want, we can also access the product inside this collection. So to do that, I believe we need to go dot product. So if I save it and I come back here, we're going to have lazy drop collection. So we have to loop to have access to this collection, this product inside the collection. All right, so that's it for the collection, and let's talk about the next one. So let's talk about the collection list. So a setting of type collection list outputs a collection picker field that's automatically populated with the available collection for the store. You can use this settings type to capture multiple collections, such as a group of collections to feature on the home page. All right. This we already talked about it also. So this one accepts a limit and is not required, and the maximum number of the collection that the merchant can select, the default is up to 50. Okay, so let's try this one, and we will talk about the differences between the collection list and the collection. So let's go back to our VS Code. Just below the collection type here, let's create another one, and let's call it, is gonna be collection list. That's the name that Shopify is looking for. The ID, let's call it collection list, and the label is going to be collection list as well. So in this case, I'm not gonna add the limit yet, just to show you something. So if I save it, if I go to our customizer, we're going to have now the collection list. And when you working with the collection list, data is returned as collection object, and if there is no product selected, or if the collection is no longer exist, you're going to have blank as the return data. So if I click on this select, now we're going to have access to our product, and Shopify reminding you can select up to 50 collection. So here I can select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I had more, I can go up to 50. So if I select and I click save, now I can access all this select here. But we can now use, if you want, just to keep it like to display only, let's say 3 collection. So you can come here and you can add the limit, and you can set it to 3 if you want to. Let's add a comma like this. So if I come back now, let's change this one. Let's remove all the collection and let's add it again. And now here we see we are limited to 3 collection only because we set it here using the limit. So if I go 1, 2, and 3, I can't go more than 3. All right, so this is just for you to know. And the differences between the collection list and the collection is when using the collection, you have access to only one collection. So you have to choose only one collection. And when you choose only one collection, you're gonna get only the details, the object only about this one collection. All right, but when accessing data with the collection list, you can select multiple collections and you can access the product inside this collection that you selected. I hope I made myself clear. So how to access now our collection list is going to be the same. So we have to copy the ID, come on top here, let's remove this one, double curly, let's say section that settings that collection list. If I save it and I go check what we're going to have, we're going to get some collection list drop. So every time you see something ending with the drop, it means we have to loop it. So if I go back here, I'm going to write a for loop like this, and it's going to be against just what we did right a second ago. So section.settings.collection list, and we're gonna call this one, in a case you want to access, let's say, a product, or let's just call it item again for now, and let's display what we're gonna have. So if I go item dot, now I have access to all of these objects here, so I can output, for example, the image if I want to. So it's going to be a bunch of images here, so we need to add a filter and add image URL. Let's give it, I don't know, 200 by 200. Let's add a filter to add an image tag. If I save it, we should get some images appearing here, and it seems like nothing. Yes, because our image here is, I think, is an array. So let's try another object, is featured image. So let's save it, and we still get nothing. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try item.title. Let's save it. Yeah, so it's not working because we need to access the product, and we need to come and to do item.product. So if you want to, we want to see what is inside, which product is inside this selected collection. And once we do that, if I save it, we're still getting nothing. Let me check my terminal to see if I have some error. I have no error. That's very interesting. And you know what, let's go back, I think because we did not make the selection. Yeah, that's it. So let's select again. It wasn't working because of the selection, so let's save it. So now we have the lazy drop collection. So it was my mistakes, sorry for that. If we come back here, so let's try to say we want to display the item title, for example. If I do that and I save, now we're going to have the boots, the men's, and the sandals is what we have selected exactly here. And you can display anything as you want, the images. So let's try the images quickly. So if I come here and I say that featured image, let's add quickly an image URL. Let's give it 200 for the height, and let's give it 300. Let me change here quickly to 300, and let's add here an image tag. And if I save it, we're supposed to get images appearing here, and there you go. Okay, so this is how we use the collection list. And let's talk about the next one. The next one here is the color. Let's click on it. So the color settings outputs a color field picker. So you can use it to capture a color selection for various theme elements, such as the body text color. So this is how we're using that. So you need to have the type, the ID, the label. These are mandatory. And when accessing the type color, the data is returned as color object or as blank if there is no selection made. And the color can also accept a default as attribute. And I don't think it is mandatory. So let's go try this one. I think we already even talked about it like many times, but let's see it again. So if I come back here below our collection list, let's create a type of color. Let's give it an ID of color, label of color, and we can add here a default. So this default must be a string, and you can add any color you want here. So far let's try something like black, so like 60. All right, and of course there is other attributes you can add. You can use the info to add some info here. We can say this is the text color, and when you save it, when you go back to the customize, and here we have access to this color picker, so we can choose the color we want just like this. And if you want to see how is it working, just copy the ID, and you can come here. Let's delete this for loop for now. Let's create some p tag here. So let's write like the color. Let's close the p tag, and inside here let's create a style. Let's add a color. We're gonna change the color text. So let's access now the color settings. So section.settings.color. And if I save it, it's gonna take first the default color, which is black in this case. So if I come back here, let's save here quickly to remove this image. So now we're gonna have this color here because it's set to this one. So if I go back, I put it to black, it's going to be color black. Okay, so I can play, let's go to red, it's going to be red here. Very straightforward. So next, let's talk about color background. So the color background outputs the text field for entering CSS background properties. So you can use this settings type to capture background settings for various themes elements, such as the store background. The color background settings accepts the type, the ID, the label as mandatory. This you already know. And you can use the default like this, and this is how you're gonna specify the default when using these color background settings. So when accessing the color background type settings, data is returned as one of the following: as a string or as an empty string if nothing has been entered. So let's come just below our color here. Let's add a settings of type color background. Let's add the ID and let's call it color background. Let's give it some label. The label is going to be, let's say, background. And here you can specify the default or not. Okay, so if you do, you must follow, it must be a string first of all, and you must follow this format here. So let me copy that and I will just paste it like this, and let me just like remove this double quote here, this extra double quote. Let's save it. And if you go now to our customize, we're going to have access to this color background right here. If now you want to display it, so for example, of course you have to come and grab the ID and you need to use the CSS. So let me come here, let's give some class here. So let's say test, or you can create an ID, and let's create some style tag here, and let's access this test class. And now you need to use the background like this. Well, you need to be background, and now you can access now this section that settings that color background as the ID. So if you save it, but let's go back first to the documentation. If you save it, it says here, well, it's already taken. Okay, so we have the color background over here, so it's already working. So if you come back to our customizer here, let me save it. So we're going to have it like this, and you can play it the way you see fit. You can change the color. Yeah, and if you don't want to use the gradient, you can come and just pick the CSS, and you can either paste the CSS gradient here, or you can just even use the normal X code. So I can do FFF to have black, and there you go. Alright, so let me save it. That's it for the color backgrounds.